Well, here we are again, another one of my podcasts, down to earth but heavenly minded. And I'd like to just welcome you. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the book of Proverbs. We're going to be looking at uh, wisdom and folly today. It's kind of a twofold chapter. And we are, I believe, in chapter 9. Yes, we are. And with that said, I'm going to do the same thing I did in the last chapter. I'm just going to read through the scripture and then we'll talk a little bit about it. So, with that said, let us just get right into the meat of the word, get right into the chapter. The ways of wisdom. Wisdom has built her house, she has hewn out 7 pillars. She has slaughtered her beast, she has mixed her wine, she has also set her table. She has set out her young women to call from the highest places in the town. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. To him who lacks sense, she says, come, eat of my bread and drink of my wine I have mixed. Leave your simple ways and live, and walk in the ways of insight. Whoever corrects a scoffer gets himself abused, and he who reproves a wicked man incurs injury. Do not reprove a scoffer, or he will hate you. Reprove a wise man, and he will love you. Give instructions to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. Teach a righteous man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is insight. For by me your days will be multiplied, and your years will be added to your life. If you are wise for yourself. If you scoff, you alone will bear it. Now the ways of folly. A woman's folly is loud. She is seductive and knows nothing. She sits at the door of her house. She takes a seat on the highest place of the town, calling to those who pass by, who are going straight on their way. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. And to him who lacks sense, she says, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasures. But he does not know that the dead are there, that her guests are in the depths of Sheol. Kind of an interesting chapter, isn't it? Let's take a look at it. I want to just jump over here to the scripture. The ways of wisdom. Yes, the ways of wisdom. In the first part of this, the chapter, verses 1 through 12, the first 12 verses of this chapter speaks of the ways of wisdom. But then as we get to the end, from chapter 13 to 18, the last chapter, or last verses, it's the way of folly. The woman, folly, is loud. In other words, he refers to both wisdom and folly as women in a feminine pronoun. I find that kind of interesting. I'm not trying to put down women or anything. It's just the way that the scripture is written. It just refers to wisdom in a feminine way. In fact, it lifts women up if you look at it that way, but it also puts them down when you look at it as being folly. But it has nothing to do with male or female. It just has to do with the way the scripture is presented to us. When it talks about folly, she sits at the door of her house. She takes the seat of the highest places in town. In other words, we exalt ourselves. Uh, we lift ourselves up. That's folly in God's eyes. We are to humble ourselves. We are to lower ourselves. And the New Testament tells us don't take the high seat, take the low seat. And the reason for that is because you, if somebody comes in that is greater than what you are, you'll be put down and you will be embarrassed. And this is true in life. And it says, whoever is simple, let him turn in here. In other words, if you want to follow the ways of folly, just come on in here. And to him who lacks sense, she says, and this is true, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret places. In other words, if you do things in the dark of the night, you're going to pay for it. And all wickedness is done in secret places, in the dark corners. It tells us that evil goes out at night. And but when the Lord was on the face of the earth, he walked around in daylight, and he presented the truth in open air, and that was a wise way of doing it. Well, I mean, that's a good way to look at this chapter in Proverbs. And with that said, I'm just gonna leave it here. I don't want to carry on, and so think of wisdom and think of folly. One is the opposite of the other. With that said, I'm going to end my podcast. Have a great day. Until next time, and we'll cover another chapter.